Name, could I?
Yeah, it's Kelly.
Hi, Miss Kelly. Kelly what? How do they know you?
My name is Kelly Nicely.
Okay. And how do we identify? She, they, be, he?
I'm she, they.
Okay. And what is, I'm curious because everything about you and everyone else is unique. Like, what part of your identity do you bring into your work?
Definitely African American. That's what I know is coming out. I think, well, I mean,
And I'm loving the beauty marks on your face. Yes.
I definitely explore gender from the body perspective. Like this is male form. I recently completed more.
And what's the material? May I touch it?
Plaster. Yeah, you can touch it.
You know, it actually made me think I did. I was actually a student with the Joan Mitchell Foundation in their young adult, emerging, whatever, about like 2015 to 2017. And I was wanting to comment on how body politics is seeped into our mannequins and how these unattainable bodies that we're aiming for are plastic. And so I put on paper mache and I painted it black and I put it on a kind of like on a noose. And it's like a chandelier, and like I had a little presentation and like talking about like plastic is death to the earth. Right. You know, and plastic is death to our bodies. Right. And yet we're looking at these mannequins. And still, even in Harlem, you have mannequins that are thin and white and Anglo-Saxon. What does that send to Black people? The message. And now they might switch it up a little bit with like a little bit of tonnage, like maybe at the Museum of FIT, because they have to be progressive a little bit. But the majority of our culture still does not represent the people. And what does that even say to people who don't fit the binary, who do not have, or even you do fit the binary, but your body is not all masculine, all feminine like me. So this model needs to change, right? And like, I've done a long work. I'm not in a place of a total body positivity with myself, but I am in a place where I'm having body neutrality. But that's at least a little bit away from negativity. Hopefully one day I'll feel better about my body, but we're all on a journey. But I just feel like there needs to be radical change for people to feel affirmed and feeling like don't strive for perfection and beauty. Be okay with what you are.
Yeah, I think this series is about the body
and this also gives you the body.
Of the body. Yeah, that
the hourglass.
Right. It's an urn in my mind, and it comes from some of the stories that I hear doing therapy with folks without getting into the specifics of that for confidentiality reasons. But I'm also thinking about the body as like the house of the things that have occurred. Right.
And if you're at any point uncomfortable being recorded, let me know.
Some older person, so that that would be an answer to your actual question about.
She's beautiful.
That's my grandmother.
Oh, lovely. What was her name?
Her name was Eldora.
Oh, Eldora. What does Eldora mean? It's beautiful.
That's a good question.
We'll look it up. Yeah. Google it.
Right. So I have like a series.
And she seems very pensive. Sorry, not to cut you off. I'm just noticing she's like whoever she's looking at, you know, but I feel also a little like she's hiding something, but feel a little conflicted. Maybe I'm projecting just my own experience. And like she wants to rest, but she's a little bit on guard. And I kind of like the elements that you were sharing with the New York Botanical Garden. What type of, that's just a typical rose?
Yeah, I mean, that looks like a flyer, but I think I saved it because my grandparents were members of the Botanical Garden.
And I was just at the reopening of Studio Museum in Harlem. And this actually makes me think of Jordan Castile. And I did meet her. And ooh, the white women at NYU were not ready for me. And I was the only one in the room that was like, Miss, I remember your retrospective from 2014 at Sergeant Daughter. Everyone turned around when they judged me when I came in the room, because I get infantilized a lot by white people. And I say, and she looked at me and she said something nicely, and they all said, this bitch is educated, culture. This one knows, this baby knows exactly what they're talking about. And then I'm assuming you're a parental figure?
It's an uncle of mine. Yeah.
Okay. I would move more, but like the phone is charging.
Yeah, sure.
So maybe actually, let me move my tuchus.
But even when you came in, like, what were you reacting to?
I'm gonna laugh, you're gonna lie, because I'm so colorful. I actually was thinking this was a sculpture and this paper, because I love galaxy color. What is the material, so I know?
This is, it's vinyl.
It's vinyl. You see
this is
some of the simple things.
Vinyl, so it actually can glow in the dark.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I need that as an outfit. Give it like a Mugler. Ooh, they're gonna come in, they're gonna be blinded by my light.
Well,
the boys are already mad when they see me every
This is what
day.
I'm making in our class, and I'm trying to bring it over to keep working on it tonight.
Oh, wow. May I?
Yeah.
And what is it made out of?
That's acrylic.
And when you say class, which class?
The design makes sense.
Oh, you see, hello kids, I'm in this beautiful design residency, and I'm already meeting the teacher because I'm trying to get, oh right, but we're all students and teachers, but I'm trying to get a little, what's it called, get a little information to pass your test. You know, I used to ask a lot of questions in college because I was actually fascinated with what I was learning. And because my whole life in 1 second. Yeah, but, ooh, okay, she got all the descendants, honey. I need to make a family tree. I need to remind people where I come from because they're always trying to vie up. And I said, honey, you might have been touching royalty and you don't even know it. We have a word in, it's Yeshivish, which is kind of like a slang of mix of Hebrew and Yiddish, that a cultural language that is used as I grew up with Orthodox Jews. So yichus, I can't think exactly what the root of it, but it means basically it's kind of like this like divine generational protection, you know? So like if you come from a great rabbi or someone who was a great helper to society, and like we all have that in our blood and in our spirit, you know, our ancestors that have protected us and fought for us and have done good. And I'm not here without my ancestors.
Right.
And I don't even need to tell you all my story of like, you know, just even my grandparents, my mother's side, after 2,000 years of oppression as third-class citizens, as Semitic people in Yemen, finally, in the 1880s, rebelled and left and were liberated. And there was British and Italian colonialism that took over Aden. And the Yemeni Jews got dispersed all over the world. And in 2021, there was a cultural genocide, no more Yemeni Jews that had been there for 2,000 years. And even this fucking Yemeni guy, Muslim guy in Harlem, and I'm just trying to say a word in Arabic, and I said Yahud, which means like Jew, and he said in his mind, where are you from? And I told him roughly, and he said there was no Yemeni Jews in Yemen. And I was like, I literally was at the Smithsonian a few years ago, and they were literally opening up an exhibition about what's left in Yemen. And I feel the pressure to document my own ancestry because I grew up even in New York City, that there's all different types of Jews, the amount of whitewashing in America and whitewashing in Israel, Palestine that we keep seeing today, that the actual Semitic people that have been there, because people have always been going out since the time of King Solomon trading in that land. And actually the history of the Yemeni Jews was, Jerusalem was barren when King Solomon came. There was no resources, no waters, it was on mountains, and he needed to build a system of mercantilism. So he sent about 6,000 artisans to Yemen because of Queen Sheba, and he had to make political alliances with the world. And Queen Sheba allegedly asked, she knew about this wise leader, and, you know, I won't say the whole story, but allegedly she became one of his 1,000 wives that were used as part of political diplomacy. And she granted not only asylum to Jews in Yemen, but 1 out of 2 times in history did a kingdom convert over 1/3 of its population to Judaism. and one of them was in Yemen. There's a conspiracy around the Khazars, that's the Eastern European, the people delegitimize Jews. But Jews, before there were the Hasidic Jews and the white Jews and the converts and everyone pretending to be a Jew for over 2,000 years. And everyone knows this who is educated. And I'm going to go look back at this to give you a little bit of my history. That the Yemeni Jews orate the Torah, the Bible, the closest it is to biblical times. And then I took an ethnomusicology class in Hunter around 2014, and this professor said that the Muslims of Yemen also orate the Quran the closest. And my theory is, which I feel I might not have the PhD yet, but I know this bitch is smart and she does have a few degrees. Come on, Telfar, let's collaborate. I love a little chocolate, but I do want that grocery bag. Yeah, I don't want to be a copy. I want to be an original. But it's also time for the Jajay brand. That's what I was born for. What's it called? I'll just finish you with this. After, and this is so you learn a little about me and a little about this, because I've been hiding who I was for so long out of shame and fear. And still, people won't do their research. And even if you present it in their face, because they'll go by what they think and see. And I've been told I was Hispanic. I've also dealt with racism for looking Hispanic, looking Arab, all types of projections. But after Queen Sheba, her reign fell and she controlled the region around the Red Sea into Ethiopia. So there's a lot of Jewish influence from Yemen that went into Ethiopia, and a lot of their phenotypes and genes are very similar. You know, slender, olive tone. Hey, I might be Jesus. It wasn't a white, no, I don't want to be Jesus. They'll crucify me for that. They already do. But finally, I'll just say, oh, I love that fake photo there. What's here with the two girls?
That's from a photograph of my sister and her friend after their dance recital on Father's Day.
And what does the colors mean in the back?
Well,
it's like a flag. It feels like an emblem or represents an identity.
It's kind of just an outcome, but it was like the sidewalk, the brick wall, and this kind of bush that has purple leaves, and I just kind of simplified them. And I was going to try to make it more realistic like that one, but then something told me to just stop and leave it the way it is.
Because the first thing that came to me, I was thinking a lot of imagining the top was like black, and then of the red, I was thinking of like a lot of Caribbean flags, like something like Trinidad or something, or Tobago, if I'm right. You know what I'm talking about? Like that, and then also I projected like, gender identity and the different flags that people need, that representation, how powerful a symbol is for people who feel unseen. And I was finally gonna say with let it get close about, you see, it might be dark outside, but the artist always will have light. And some of y'all can't even take it. Y'all call us crazy, but you still love it. And as Shakira says, I'm crazy, but I like it. Loca, loca, loca. I love being a loca. Step into the light. Jajay has a big mouth. We call it in Yiddish yenta. It's a kind of a stigmatized term for rabble-rouser for an old woman. And even that I had to undo the stigma. And I said to my mom when she was trying to tease me and say, where does this big mouth come from? And I say, honey, I didn't even really grow up in a quiet home. See, that's classy shade. And then she goes, like a lot of these women, she understood she got a taste of her medicine, because I don't need to be cruel to her as she might be cruel to me or other people. But you'll pinch back and say, no, honey, watch out. After Queen Sheba's reign fell, and then there was different waves of European colonialism from all the countries in the world till today, in the Arab world and the Muslim world, Yemen became an isolated and desolated society. So in a way, it's kind of ironic and cruel that the kingdom of Judah got rebuilt and fortified and took resources from Yemen, just like other forwards of colonialism, and Yemen was left dry. And I might have been grateful for my ancestors leaving over a century ago, whether in 1880 a migration, or the biggest migration, which most white Jews think it's 1950, and they don't even do their research because they think they know everything, but they don't. And we don't know everything, but people will only go based on, history is based on the winners, right? And people will not listen to non-white narratives, and that's why as artists we have to bring it in. There's 100 dialects in Arabic, and the most popular is Jordanian and Egyptian because of where it's positioning to Europe and Asia and its power till this day to learn it. But Yemen is seen down. That I actually went into a Middle Eastern Jewish mixer and I thought I found my crowd in AFH in Brooklyn years ago. And a woman came and asked my identity. And then she said to me, "You are the Mexicans of the Jewish community." And I knew exactly what she meant by that. And I was hurt, just like how many microaggressions where people have fetishized and reduced me based on my food. And they don't even know all of the food you eat, but they reduce you to one to say that's not civilized. But I could go on and on, but to really put an end to it is that, the color, the Jews of Yemen, they had to leave everything, the jewelry, and there were artisans, but it kept with them and survived, and they brought it. And every major singer in Israeli and Palestinian society today for the past century has Yemeni roots. And the beauty, again, to make a theory, because of oppression that Jews were facing in Yemen, they were barred from using instruments even. So they had to rely on their vocals and entertain. And I look at my aunts and they entertain themselves without TV, and it becomes genetic and secondhand. I'm not a singer yet, but I'll sing in the shower. But thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for coming in and spotlighting.
But even Yemen today is being neglected by America and being neglected by the West and all the children that are suffering. And I might be lucky to not be there, but also people anglicize and say the word Yemeni or Yemenite for even Jews, but we don't claim that because we were never naturalized as citizens. So we have our own hybrid identity called Temanim, which everyone knows is a mix of the Jews of Yemen spoke Arabic, Aramaic, and Hebrew. So they made that own word, and they even still today speak words that are Arabic that might got inserted into Israeli society, but they don't, they are not understood by the average Jewish person because there's hundreds of Jewish languages that have been lost due to persecution. So anyways, we are Temanim, and I have to be proud of who I am, and I bring it out there, and it took a long time to find pride with who I am, and I'm glad that you're bringing pride with who you are. And hopefully together we show the world we should all be authentic, we should all celebrate our differences. Yes, I'm seeing Black rights. Okay, we could talk another time about how 90% of lawyers, Jewish, who volunteered pro bono for the civil rights movement. And people forget that. Not all Jewish people are good, but those who have consciousness and fought in America, 91%. The history, the top three men who went down for the Freedom Riders, 2 of them were Jewish guys from New York who sacrificed their lives for Black lives.
Well, you know what?
And I'm not saying
Jewish people and Black people used to roll with each other.
And we still do. And here we are, Black and Jewish, But I'm saying, yes, many white Jews have moved up in society and assimilated, and obviously that pissed off a lot of Black people who had to still be suffering, centuries of, I don't want to say all the jargon, but like suffrage. And I'm blessed to have this hybrid identity to understand what it means to be experiencing anti-Semitism and racism in America. Yeah. And I hope that we could rebuild that conversation to create more understanding and love, because I'm a New Yorker. I love all people. I mean, not all people love me. I mean, I love all types of people, but thank you. Yeah. You heard my TED Talk. You won't have to hear me for the rest of the class, but it's a little bonding moment, a little bit of art, a little bit of history. Girl, you better be coming and see me at Columbia, Yale. Who's giving me an honorary degree? Pratt, RISD, I've done the work. Come on, body. Okay. Oh, yes. It also made me think about like the Egyptians. I got 10 seconds left, who hope that they put their jars and organs to come back to life because everything else doesn't
I
mean
like
anything.
that. I like that.